Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the 718 Porsche Cayman. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Porsche Salt Lake City for giving me some time with this Cayman. This particular one is still available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. And if you don't know, the Porsche Salt Lake City has some of the coolest pre-owned inventory that you have ever seen, so just definitely check them out regardless. And then on a side note, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbocharged 2-liter flat 4 cylinder that goes through a dual clutch automatic. You can also get a manual with the Cayman. Power outputs are about 300 horsepower and then 280 pound-feet of torque. And obviously we can't really see the engine, but it's back here in the middle underneath the cargo space. And speaking of cargo space, while we're back here, you guys can see that we have like an official trunk here in the very rear portion, and then you have this little shelf here at the top. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, I just want to quickly show the key fob because first off, it's so cool that it looks like a car, but obviously you got the front opening and the rear opening. We are going to open up the front because we got to look at the storage space there. And popping said front open, you guys can see it's super practical, just like the 911. That's one of the cool things about, you know, the mid-engine design is, well, you've got storage space in different places, but still have quite a bit of storage space overall. And I will say this hood is extremely light. Now I've got the Cayman's signature headlights here that are less round compared to the 911. That's one of the ways to tell it's a Cayman versus a 911. But you still have the raised section there where the lights exist. And then some parking sensors here. And then I love the little washers here. It just gives the car such an iconic Porsche look. Anyways, putting it all together in yellow, I mean, this is just like the definition of Porsche in terms of the looks. I love it. Coming on the side here, our tire wheel setup is 235, 35, 20 in the front, and then 265, 35, 20 in the rear. And I love the silver wheels. They contrast nicely to the bright yellow paint on this particular Cayman. And of course, you got the fuel filler door on the front of the car in normal Porsche fashion. And putting it all together with the mid-engine design just has such a cool look, especially with the intake there on the side. I mean, it just adds to the flair. And then popping over to the rear, I love the 718 tail lights here. I think they look really cool. And then you guys can see a little ducktail here on the back end. And then you get your 718 badge and then the center mounted exhaust. Putting it all together for a quote unquote baseline car, it is absolutely beautiful. But let me know what you guys think about the looks. Now taking a look at the door panel, you've got soft touch here at the top and down below, and even where you're going to rest your arm. You guys can see all the window controls right there, and then we got our mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, and love the door handle. And then there's a quick look at the mirrors. Now the Cayman is a 2-seater, and these seats look absolutely fantastic. Love all the leather trim. Looks like it's a mix between some power adjustments and some manual adjustments with this particular car. And then you guys can see the opening for the different storage areas, and then obviously the Cayman logo. And then you got the 2-pedal layout because this one has the PDK light control here, and then the key thing to turn the car on. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, really nice trim all around. We've got paddles there for the PDK. And you guys can see some practical controls on the front for like the phone stuff, for example. And then I love this for the drive modes on the steering wheel. Kind of has a cool feel to it. It does pop up there in the center, but I don't know. I always think drive mode selects on steering wheels just make it feel a little bit more exciting. Anyways, you got the regular stocks. Well, there you go on the back. And speaking of gauge clusters, this is one of the reasons why I personally kind of like the Cayman a little bit more than 911. I like how they've stuck with more of like an analog gauge cluster. Yes, it does, you know, maybe make it feel a little bit more dated, but I don't know. I love how it looks, especially there with the RPMs front and center. And it's not as busy as what you have in the 911 with like the 5 different gauge set up with the screen. More soft touch here on the dash, as you can see, and then got a little clock there in the center, which is always cool. Some vents here in the center as well, and then look at the trim that goes across. And does this have the over-engineered cup holders? My goodness, it does. I've always been a fan of this because then you can like put it up here and cup holder still sticks out. I don't know, I've always thought that that's kind of a cool thing, and yeah, I'm glad that the 718 still has that. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. It's basically just Audi's backup camera that Porsche has. which is good because it's a good camera system. Anyways, as for the rest of the infotainment system, you've got some analog controls here at the bottom, but it is also a touchscreen as well, and it actually responds really quickly. So I'd say good setup overall. And then this is kind of like our climate control section, so you guys can see the dual zone climate, heated and ventilated seats, so a bunch of luxury car features. And we've got our shifter here for the PDK. Feels like you're doing something substantial when you put it into gear. I'm glad that the 718 still has this version of the shifter. And you guys can see stuff in the center like your door lock, and then this is for that little wing in the back to raise it. That's for your exhaust to make it more aggressive. Suspension to change that, you guys stability control, and then your auto stop start. And then you got like a little, I don't know what you'd store there, maybe like the key or something. It's kind of interesting. But then there's more soft touch here on the side too, and then pretty normal center console. I like how the button to open it's on the passenger side. That's funny. Anyways, glove box, it's actually pretty big for such a small car, and I do love the handle on it. It feels very premium. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, then throughout the rest of the rear, and we're actually going to be reversing out initially. So I think this is my first time, I can't remember, I think this might be my first time doing a review on a 718 Cayman for the channel, at least. It's not my first time driving one. I do have a little bit of experience with the car, but it's been a long time, so I've mostly forgotten how the car drives, all of that stuff. So this will kind of be like a first time. And I did actually drive my GT350 up to the Porsche store today, so I'll be able to tell you guys if this lives up to the GT350 excitement, right? Because that's an exciting car too. Anyways, right off the bat, seats are extremely comfortable. Porsche does a great job with that. And the PDKs seems to be really smooth right off the bat. Yeah, super smooth with the gear shifts. Really good power. Tons of low-end torque is what I'm noticing. And by the way, I'm talking from like a daily driver perspective. So, and this car feels so small. I love it. But the thing that's surprising to me is how comfortable it is. Like it feels small, but it's also not, like sometimes really small cars are kind of uncomfortable, but that's not the case here with the 718. Yeah, I really do like the torquey feel of the turbocharged flat 4-cylinder. Again, you read the power figures and you're like, man, 300 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque doesn't sound like a lot, but we always got to remember Porsche horsepower and torque. It always means more than other cars. But yeah, again, 20-inch wheels, that's another thing, is usually that creates quite a bit of harshness with a car. But this is really, really comfortable. And the thing that I'm not sure, like I'm gonna like be dead set on this opinion that I'm about to make, but I think this might be more comfortable than the 911. I don't know if that's because of the mid-engine design, but like it might be, which is super weird. Because the 911 is the, you know, slightly larger, more like luxury car, right? And it's still a sports car, still Porsche. But yeah, I think this might actually, like on a daily driver perspective, might actually be a little bit more comfortable. Gonna open up the valves, so it's a little bit more aggressive. Gonna pop it into the manual mode as well. We'll put it in Sport Plus. We'll do the suspension to soft because the roads here are pretty harsh overall. Yeah, it's instant in normal PDK fashion. Absolutely instantaneous with the gear shifts. Just always so impressive. We'll get a better acceleration up here in a moment, but man, right off the bat, doesn't sound like a flat 6 though, obviously, right? It's a flat 4-cylinder, so it doesn't have that same, like, you know, high-end wail that you get with the flat 6, which is so beautiful, but it doesn't sound bad. Doesn't sound bad. But I did see something when I was researching this car a little bit. I did see something online. People are calling this the Porsche because it has an engine that's similar to what you have in a Subaru. I thought that was funny. Let's see how this does. Oh, that's pretty quick. That's pretty dang quick. That is for sure. That's fun. So I guess we'll get into summing things up here with the 718 Cayman. Again, the base car has a fun, lightweight, tossable feel that you just don't get with a lot of modern cars, because everything just, I feel like everything's heavier than this. On top of having that lightweight, tossable feel, I love the looks of it. The mid-engine design, I definitely just, I don't know, it looks great. And yeah, it drives so well. And you know, again, for being a base car, it's pretty quick. It's got, and the thing is, there's just always power. It's got a really good power band. There's low end torque, but then you still feel like there's more at the top end. And so it's quite an exciting driving experience. And the PDK, obviously instantaneous. So, you know, as Porsche's entry-level sports car, true entry-level sports car, right? Because this is the base Cayman. I think this thing's pretty dang fun. So let me know your thoughts on the 718 Cayman, and I'll try to get more reviews on different packages with the Cayman, like the S, you know, a manual Cayman, GTS, GT4, all that kind of stuff as the time goes on. So that's another reason for you guys to subscribe. I'll be working on that with the Porsche store as things come in. But yeah, let me know your thoughts.